Hey adventurers, so I've got a whole bunch of reviews that I need to get to, and so we're just gonna kind of blow through them here, and this will be the setup for a while, probably, mostly. I may get some in the other studio, but that's alright. Anyways, today is going to be a book review for The Gunslinger by Stephen King. So The Gunslinger is, of course, high fantasy. It's a Western fantasy. There's kind of alternate realities type stuff going on here. I haven't read very much King, and so I don't really know everything that's going on with the whole multiverse, Stephen King multiverse and all that kind of stuff. So I can't really say a whole bunch about that because I'm not immersed in that. I've only read, this is the second King book that I've read. So anyways, I want to do my review for this because I read the book. So anyways, The Gunslinger is the first book in Stephen King's The Dark Tower series. King is a controversial author. Some people really love him and some people don't. I've only read one other book by him, like I mentioned, and that was The Dead Zone, and I didn't like it. So anyways, I didn't love The Dead Zone, so I didn't really know what I was going to feel about The Gunslinger when I read it. All I knew is that I'd had it on my shelf. I like fantasy, and this is considered by King and by everybody else to be kind of his masterpiece series, his magnum opus and everything, and so I wanted to give it a try, see what I thought of it. No idea if I would like it or not, but it's a short, just over 300 pages, so it's not like it's a huge commitment for me to read the first book, and if I don't like the first book then I won't continue on. But I did like the first book. I'll get more into that in a second here. Before I continue on with my review though, I just quickly like to say that if you're liking what you're seeing from an Erudite adventure, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so as far as my actual review goes, I don't have a ton to say. Apparently I really didn't write much down about this as I was reading it. Usually I try and take notes a little bit as I'm reading a book, if I know it's going to be a while before I can get to the review, but for some reason I didn't, and so I'm just going to have to go off of what I can remember as I was going through it. I do like King's writing. I think he's very engaging as a writer, and I can read his books fairly quickly. Although I did listen to The Gunslinger, I physically read The Dead Zone, and I feel like this one, the writing style was again such that had I physically read it, I would have made quick progress through the book as I was reading it. The story was also pretty atmospheric for a Western, for a novel, not specifically for a Western, but it was fairly atmospheric, and that Western atmosphere that it was bringing into it is something that I enjoy. For one, I really like atmospheric reads, and for two, I like Westerns, so it's kind of that side of thing just worked for me really well. At the same time as it being atmospheric, part of what made that atmosphere so striking to me was the sterility and intensity of the world that we were in. It fit the story very well, but it was also very different than I'm used to. I could pretty much visualize everything that was happening, which is really good. Sometimes I can't do that with books. I am one of the people whose brains works in such a way that I visualize sequences, I visualize things before in my mind I don't have to actually see them. So that's nice, I guess, but I could do that with pretty much every scene that I was reading in this book. There's quite a bit of philosophy mixed in, especially towards the end of this book, and that made me actually more interested in reading the rest of the series. Plus the world, and knowing that it is tied into the multiverse, even though I haven't really read much other King, and trying to pick out those ties I was going through just based on my knowledge of King's various works and because of the pop culture, because of the adaptations. I'm able to, I have some generic knowledge of King just because it's so prevalent in our society. There was quite a bit of language in this book, as well as some other adult content, and I am definitely still of the opinion that it is completely unnecessary. You can always tell the story without it, but at least in this one, there's also some rather violent sequences, which I should mention as well in here. But in this book, at least, it didn't feel as unnecessary as I've seen in other books, including The Dead Zone. It's done in such a way that it actually does play into the story that's going on and is not just there because King wants it to be there, type thing. And again, it could have been removed. It didn't need to be there. You could have told the same exact story without it being there. But at least it didn't feel so blatantly unnecessary in this story as it does in a lot of stories. Overall though, I had a much better experience with the Gunslinger than I did with The Dead Zone, and I do want to continue reading this series, but I'd be very hesitant to recommend this book to most people. Obviously there's people who know King and stuff like that, and if people know their taste, if people know what they're getting into with this author, then yeah, I could recommend this story to them depending on the person. But just because there's so much language and adult content, I won't recommend this book to very many people. That's just the way that I am. But I definitely did enjoy the book, or the story at least, and if the rest of the series is anything similar in terms of storytelling, in terms of world building and stuff like that, then yeah, I'd be more than happy to continue reading the series and hopefully continue enjoying the series. So that is my review of The Dead Zone by Stephen King. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday and have our social medias linked in the description down below. We'll see you guys again soon. Stay warm.